Looking forward to digging into this. It's one of my absolute favorite topics. It's something that's really helped my wife and I's business over the years. So I'm really looking forward to sharing some stuff with you today. Good to be back in New York as well. I was just chatting with Arlene this morning about the last time we were here, and it was for Affiliate Summit 2004. And the whole conference consisted of 220 people that cruised out of New York to Halifax, Nova Scotia, and then back again down to New York. So it's so exciting to see how the industry has grown over the years and how big it's actually gotten. And we've had a chance to attend pretty much every summit since it's gotten started, and always love to dive in. Now we're going to talk about all kinds of things today. We're going to take you through basically my top 10 tips to fast tracking your business with outsourcing. I think it's a good topic to talk about because it can really help somebody accelerate their business for a variety of reasons. Number one is because it can actually, we've all heard the saying, reduce your learning curve. When it comes to outsourcing, you can actually eliminate your learning curve because you can hire people that already know how to do what you need done. So it's really a quick way to get up and running. We're going to talk about how to get things done that you don't know how to do. And I know sometimes when we get into this business and we're getting started or we've been around for a long period of time, we come across these things that we need to get done. And sometimes we have a tendency to try and do them ourselves, meaning, and meanwhile, we're not really technically capable, or we're not a graphic designer, and there's a variety of things we don't know how to do. And outsourcing allows us to find people that do know how to do that, so we don't have to always be learning new things. Helps to shorten deadlines, fix budget constraints. I've got a little 15-minute rule that I use consistently to really save myself a lot of time, which we'll share with you. How to find the perfect service provider and at the best prices. A bit of an art form. How many of you have ever tried outsourcing before, if I may ask? A few of you? No, pretty good. Okay, great. And sometimes it can be a challenge to find the right person. Sometimes it can be a little bit of an art, because depending on how you describe the project, it's going to basically bring in the type of people that you want. And you can overdo it, and the bids go up, and you can underdo it, and you don't get what you want. And one of my absolute favorites is you can free yourself from all the mundane, tedious tasks that you may not like to do, things that you procrastinate about. This absolutely eliminates procrastination, because you can pass on the things that you find yourself not doing that you know need to be done to somebody else who will do it, and you can pay them for it. So for those of you that don't know me, just a couple quick things. I've created a number of courses over the years. Daily Traffic Blueprints, a new one we're just doing. Backlinks Workshop, where Arlene and I host the Affiliate Buzz podcast on Webmaster Radio every Tuesday at every Tuesday at 2 o'clock. It's also archived on the site, of course. We do a series of coffee talk interviews and just a variety of things. We've been in the business now for just over 10 years. Wrote the Affiliate Marketer's Handbook way back in 2002, which has now evolved into what we call the Super Boot Camp. So when we got started back in 1999, we had a bit of a problem because we really didn't have a lot of money to get started to really outsource anything that we needed to get done. And when we got into affiliate programs, it was out of a basic necessity to actually just earn some more money. With a family of 4 kids and a wife, it was a bit of a struggle, and we had a struggling business at the time. So we were really looking for another way to earn some income. So I don't know where I found this photo actually, but that's a pretty good representation of where we were at. I was just really annoyed with life at the time because it just wasn't going well. We needed a way to make some money. But we didn't have a lot of money for outsourcing, and outsourcing at the time really didn't exist so much. It was also very expensive back then. If you think back to 1999, what type of era it was online, there wasn't a lot of people that you could actually hire to do things for you because they just weren't around. If you did hire yourself a writer, it wasn't uncommon at all to spend $200, $300, $400, $500 to have an article written, because the professional writers of the era were used to writing for magazines and newspapers and the like. There wasn't the volume of writers that we have available to us now, so we can get it at a much lesser cost. It was also very expensive to have websites designed. I remember my very first site design was $8 grand. And I had it designed by a graphic designer. His name was Brad Heimer. We worked in Corel Draw. Very technically experienced, but very expensive to work with these guys. Same for audio production, same for all that type of stuff. It wasn't uncommon to spend 100, 150 bucks an hour with some of the good guys. And at the time, I really couldn't afford it. The other thing was they weren't web savvy at all, and they really didn't know what they were doing. And this is an interesting photo to me because this is actually myself back in the 80s when I was a general contractor, and I was used to hiring people to do the work. I was never the person that always tried to do the work myself. I was a carpenter by trade, but if you wanted to hire somebody, you simply opened up the Yellow Pages. And I don't think probably anybody here uses the Yellow Pages anymore, kind of an era that's pretty much going away. But there were an abundance. So if I needed a plumber, I'd hire a plumber. If I needed a carpenter, another carpenter, I'd hire a carpenter. If I needed somebody else to do that type of work, I could simply pick up the phone and give them a call, get them to come in and bid on the project, and they would bid on the project, and away we would go. But at that time, there really wasn't a lot of people, and we, again, were just getting started, didn't have a lot of money to spend on the project, so I ended up doing all the work myself to begin. So anybody that's actually low on funds, just getting started, I think you're going to find that this will be, you can still do this, even if you're on your own. How many of you have been struggling maybe to get a spouse involved with your business and that kind of thing? I know, see a few little hands going up. I know with my wife, she wasn't really interested in working alongside at the time because she was doing other things. And I was really trying to get her involved. And this was actually my very first foray into outsourcing in this industry, because at the time we'd finally got things going. The money was rolling. We were doing really quite well. We'd paid off some bills. We bought a new car. We'd moved the house, and we had some things really kind of underway. But Arlene wanted to buy a couch. Actually, a leather couch and love seat. And I was like, no. We need this money to spend on the business, to hire some people to get some help. So a little trick to get your spouse involved. If she wants something or he wants something, just do a little trade with her. So what I said, well, tell you what, you write the articles and then we can buy the couch and the love seat. And then she went. And she'd been working alongside ever since. So it was kind of really wasn't planned, but it was a great way to get her involved. 2003, business was booming, built myself a little website called Freelancers Wanted so we could start hiring some more people. Started putting ads in the paper locally, hiring young moms and stuff that were proficient at writing and proficient at doing programming and various things. And they would come in and we would work with them at home and they would get underway. Then it all changed. I was doing a talk at Commission Junction University in 2004, and as good as things were going at the time, and they were going very, very well, even by that point in our business, I did a talk and explained this whole idea of hiring writers locally, bring them in, train them. After the presentation, a gentleman by the name of Shlomo comes up to me and he goes, I just use Elance. And I was like, what's Elance? And to me, him saying that was worth the price of admission alone for that whole conference. Because when I got back home and I dug into the Elance system, I learned that there was literally thousands, tens of thousands of service providers there available to hire, so that while the business was running, typically at the time, we would be working on the business, and then when we go away on holidays, we'd check on stats, and we'd check on how things are converting and that type of thing. Once we got everything flipped over to Elance, our focus changed completely, because instead of us working in our business, now we had the ability to work more on the business, where we could begin to develop procedures and develop spec sheets and things that we could give to our writers and our technical people so that they could begin to do the work for us so that we didn't have to do it. So after a while, and all the trips and the travel that we've got to do, when we now log into our computers when we're maybe at a little internet cafe in Maui, or we're on a beach, or we're on a cruise ship, or we're out and about, we're primarily logging in now to make sure our service providers have everything that they need so that they can do the work for us. That's me out in the Mediterranean Sea taking in the America's Cup yacht race. Florida, Marlene's Beamer. I'm going to buy her a little sign down in Florida. On cruise ships. Cruise ships for those that haven't been on a cruise ship, they have absolutely amazing internet cafes. Cuba, out with the kids. So when we're out doing the trips and the travel now we're not, the business isn't basically stopped while we're working away. There's Arlene a couple months ago on a cruise ship. and there she is in an internet cafe. Now we're making sure the writers and the technical people and everybody that we have working for us through the ELANT system has everything that they need, so that while we're out having some fun, things are still motoring along. So ELANTs really did change the way you do business a lot, and I think for those of you that really haven't dug into it too deeply, I think you're going to find that if you take our advice on some of the things, it can really, really help your business. I'd like to give you a quick tour of the interface and take you into my account, show you the kinds of projects that we've posted over the years. We've posted over 350 projects in the ELANT system now. Basically, free account. And how many of you have an ELANT account now? Seems to be a very, very popular service. Okay. Essentially, you can go in and you can hire service providers. There are literally thousands of them, 159,733 active experts on ELANTs. Average response time to your proposal, 37 minutes. Average proposal per job, 12. Everything from programmers and everything you can think of from a technical point of view. Graphic designers, everything to do with graphics. Writers of all kinds, marketers of all kinds, administration, consultants, anything that you could possibly think of, I would think that would be needed to run a successful business. You could probably find somebody very, very adept in here. Designers, logos, for example. You take a look at some of the service providers like Net Corp, and you can see their feedback. They've done $296,000 worth of work, 4.8 stars out of 5. So very reputable, 106,000, 4.8 out of 456 reviews, 4.8 out of 5. So lots of people to come in and bid on the project. Find professionals who get the job done, find great people, check their progress, pay for results. Into the interface. There's my account there. We can go and have a little peek at, you can see projects posted, 351, award rate, 78%, feedback left, 238. We spent just over 73,000 in the system. Types of projects that we post, just to give you a little bit of an idea. Video intro and outro for videos that we've been working on, content for 2 websites, graphic packages, headers, content for 3 sites, 2 to 5 minute Camtasia video tutorials, WordPress ClickBank integration, content for 1 website, 12 articles, 400 to 500 words in length, WordPress installation, 3 videos, content for websites, book needs updating, quality writer needed, automotive articles, descriptions for Q&As, affiliate buzz, etc. 2 articles for epilepsy moms, so just on and on and on. Pretty much anything that you could possibly think of that you would need done. Simple landing page, 2-minute flash video, 25-page ebook, and so on. It literally goes on and on. So one of the mottos that I basically go by is do what you do best and outsource the rest. And it's a good thing to think about, because if you're already doing it and you enjoy doing it and it's what you do best, the stuff that you don't like to do or maybe not quite so passionate about, you can really find some other people to take care of that. My wife's site, which was created about 2.5 years ago, just to give you an idea of some of the things, anything from graphics, branding, with little thumbnails that you can use into Facebook and all the places that we have our avatars and gravatars these days. Audio production, in her case she does a podcast where she hires somebody to handle the audio. They do the descriptive article after her podcast is finished. All the graphics were created. Her newsletter, same thing. All the graphics were designed for that. Hired a couple of moms who could help her out on her website as far as handling in the chat form. A couple of moms who also have children with epilepsy. Press, media. Somebody who worked in PR that actually put her press release together that resulted in a front page story for her site and our son. Graphics, again, myself, I do the Affiliate Buzz podcast, I do coffee talk interviews with other experts from the industry, and I outsource the creation of a descriptive article for each one, plus the audio intro, audio outro. So all this type type of stuff. We'd also build sites for affiliates with our pre-built site program, and we've got a team of people that we work with closely to do that. So pretty much anything that we need done, almost everything. I mean, our major task is, and you may want to think about this, all the work that we basically do in our business is organizing the projects that we can pass on. We don't actually do the work in the projects anymore. We organize the work so we can pass it on to the service providers. This is my little kit car site where, again, the articles go out and they take care of that. Even my dream car, which I had built in 2004, I outsourced it. I'm a carpenter by trade, couldn't put a wrench in my hand if I wanted to. So I had the opportunity to hire a guy in Calgary, Alberta, to build a car. So there's really, and I put this up for a couple of reasons. One, I love my car. And two, you can outsource anything. There's nothing you can outsource. So the top 10 tips, and we're going to spend some time on this because I think you're going to find these are pretty interesting. Number one mistake people make when it comes to outsourcing is they think it's going to be too expensive. And I can't tell you the number of times that we've got bids back on projects that are the pricing is so good and the quality of the work is so high that if we would have assumed it was too expensive going in, we probably wouldn't have done it. The other thing within the ELANS system is you can post the project and other systems. I'm talking primarily about ELANS because it happens to be the one we use, but Rent-A-Coder, Guru.com, there's a number of them out there. You can go in and post your project before and then wait for the service providers to come in and bid on the project to determine if you're going to actually award the project or not. You see, I've posted 76% of the projects we've posted were awarded. The other 24 we just canceled because we didn't either find what we were looking for in the provider or we just decided not to go for it. So in Arlene's case, simple little example of outsourcing her whole website, the whole core of her site. She outsourced that and beautifully written, very nicely done. She had the whole thing done. The initial bid came in at $293, and I know she negotiated that down a little bit. Tip number 2 is the big one, is to clearly describe the project, because the service providers will bid on it anyways, even if it's not clearly described, but you won't get back what you want because you never really thought through in advance what exactly you were hoping to have back in the first place. So in our particular case, for a project like website content, you can see here it says, and this was actually was for Arlene's website, I'm very organized and have 11 pages that needed to be written. So this is part of the project description that Arlene is writing and posting in the ELANS system. I already know what pages to be about and have attached an outline for you for each page to make it easier for you to bid and, of course, craft the content. She attaches what we call, basically her description or her outline for the whole project. And you can see the level of detail that she goes into. And one of the things that I've learned from programmers, and Dale, you probably know this, and from writers, is that the big work goes into the design of the spec up front. Programmers are typically 3 weeks to actually write the spec, 1 week to code. It's not the other way around. Same with writing, and same with a variety of things in the system. It takes longer to actually design it. So in Arlene's case, she had an idea for a website. She knew what the content was going to be about. She had a basic idea of what she wanted. And she also took it to the level of figuring out exactly who her visitor was so that the writer would understand exactly who she or he is writing to or who she's writing for. And in her case, it was moms with a child with epilepsy. These moms are typically frustrated, desperate, scared, worried, feeling helpless, anxious, and overwhelmed. These moms are typically not seeing the results with their current treatment plan, and so on. It goes into that in detail. Then she puts together a page or 2 for every page that she wants to have written, where she literally gets down into the nitty-gritty of, this is the home page, here's the primary keyword, here's the URL, here's the title tag, here's the anchor text that's going to be linking back to that page, this is the notes to the writer. This is, once you have written the page, I'd like you to write a strong, enticing 25-word description, which turns into be the meta tag. She says, I'd like the following used in the headline. The words are to relate to their feelings. They're frustrated, they're overwhelmed. Use words that relate to the problem they're trying to solve, seizure control. So these are all the little details that she gets into preparing the information for the writer so that when the writer gets this, they can sit down and actually really dig in and write a powerful, powerful page. Subheadline, I'd like the following words to be used in the secondary headline. Use words that relate to their feelings, helpless, scared. Use words that relate to the problem they're trying to solve, not seeing results from their current treatment, and so on. Then she gets into what she wants into the page of the article. And this might seem like a lot of work to organize this, and it is, but you really get back the quality work that you're looking for in the system. The biggest complaint service providers have, whether it's programmers or people that are creating articles, for example, is the buyers, us, do not give them enough detail going in to let them truly know exactly what we want. So if we take the time to do that, then we're going to get back the excellent work that we need. Here's her about the editor page, same level of detail. And there's 6 pages right there. So that's table of contents, the visitor profile, the home page, and then a few of the other pages. And for her to get a 11-page website written, she actually gave them a 32-page document outlining exactly what she wanted to get back. So it's not surprising that she gets a nice job when it's all finished up, and the writers love it because they know exactly what they're getting into when they get in, how long it's going to take, and what they're going to bid for it.
So what did you pay for that site?
That site, I'll get to that. I'm going to, when we get into pricing, I'll show that to you. I know the bids came in. The average bid was $293. She had proposals, 7 from North America, 3 from India. And so she had 10 people to choose from, and I think we'll kind of skip ahead a little bit, but she ended up negotiating it down to $190 to have the whole thing written.
What year was that?
2.5 years ago. Which, and if you think back to 1999 when I used to have articles written for us, we'd be paying $200 an article minimum, just for 1 page. So news blog. Now this is a very cool idea for those of you that are looking to create content on the fly, quickly, easily, and high quality content, inexpensively using an Elance writer. And we've used this for years, and it's just a great way, an easy way, and it's not going to weigh you down, because we know for those of you that are working with affiliate programs or Google AdSense or a combination of both, it's great to have a nice net of content online that we can display our ads on. You can see in this particular case, Arlene's writers here. This would be Amber, Catherine, and a variety of writers. The thing that with the writers and stuff that she's found, and a lot of times we have a tendency, I don't think I can find the right person. Arlene's concern was going in, she wanted the content to be real. She wanted it to be written by moms who are talking to other moms about kids with epilepsy. So she had to really get it done. So she ended up hiring 3 moms online to do these types of articles for. And this is after the 11 pages of the core site. This is the blog area of the site. So one of the things that she does, Arlene does, is she goes out and gathers up YouTube videos on the topic. So she'll go find a video that happens to be from Meryl Streep talking about, in this case, the ketogenic diet. But you can do this for pretty much any topic. I do this for my kit car site where I find other cars. And then you hire a writer to actually describe and give an enticing article around that video where they can go in and read it. Or sorry, and watch the video. Now, the nice thing about this is, how many make money with AdSense? There's a few of you. I'm a big AdSense fan, like huge. I love affiliate programs too. To me, there's a place for both, and there's great money to be had in Google AdSense, and this is a great way to create that type of content that at a high level. It also gives you, of course, another way to cover off, literally thousands of keyword phrases that you may not be thinking about that are perfectly on target to your website. So these types of articles we have written, and in this case we use the writer spec. And this is what I'm talking about when it says we work on the business and not so much in it, where we're designing specifications that we can hand off to writers who can take care of this stuff over time. And in this case it says, hi, it's James Martell here. Thank you for bidding on our project. Since '99, my wife Arlene and I have been making our living publishing specialty shopping sites. So I introduce ourselves because they're real people, we're real people, we're looking to hire some good people. It says, our needs are simple. We require professional writers to develop 5 to 550 word articles so that we can provide quality, accurate, and interesting information to our website visitors. Because in her case, that ketogenic diet is amazing. Meryl Streep happens to be introducing it. It's a great video. So we're looking for real content. We're not trying to fabricate some junk here. The content for each article will be provided by us in the form of a YouTube video. As the writer, you'll be contracted to extrapolate and develop the contents of the video into a 100% unique and original article. 4 important points. So the writers are reading this. When we post our project at Elance, this comes along with it so that they know what they're going to be doing for us. All articles must be completely your own original work. What we are looking for is an original work in the form of a 500 to 550 word article that is developed using the information from YouTube. In other words, you should watch the YouTube video, make notes, gather important points, concepts, people's names, reference websites and relevant keywords, and then write an article from scratch using your own words. All English writing related articles must use correct grammar and be structured in a logical fashion and written in good English. This is key. If you're a non-native English speaker, you are highly cautioned against bidding unless you are less than 100% certain that you can provide this level of quality. In addition, so then we just go into more detail. We get down into sample work order. Prior to commencement of the work, a work order will be provided to the writer that will include a link to the corresponding YouTube video, list of primary tier 1 and keyword variations, and notes as outlined in this sample. Then there's a little sample work order where we give them the YouTube video, the keywords, and any notes. Give them our keyword density rules, which are easy to follow, where we get into. At first glance, these density rules may look complicated. However, once understood, they are very easy to follow. These rules allow you to write naturally because there is no need to use the exact keyword phrase over and over and over again. Primary keyword, so all the detail goes into it so they know it. So then when the articles start coming back, you really have good quality content. Important points of clarification. We want the article formatted in the following. Of course, I don't have time to go through this whole thing in detail today, but if you'd like a copy of this writer spec, you're welcome to it. Just ask Arlene, maybe drop your card afterward, but she'll email you a copy of it because it took me 2 months to write this initially back in 2004, and we've been refining it since, and it works. And if you like to do this type of style of content, same thing could be applied for other things, and it's a good model to work from because once you have the structure of it, you can actually redesign your own specs based on that. We also give them the detail that submitting an article to us takes just a couple of minutes, and I give them a full-on, I think 6 or 8, 7-step tutorial on how to submit an article to us into our WordPress site, so we don't have to touch it, manage it. It just goes in and it's there. And then down at the bottom, we let them know, here's some common mistakes that people make, recent points of clarification. We do spelling, grammar, quality of writing. And I'm talking a lot about writing, but these same principles are applied to everything that we do in all areas, whether it's audio production or video, where we really take the time. And I encourage you to do so as well, to outline what you're looking for. Another little project, Flash Video. I wanted to have a little Flash video created for my Super Bootcamp, where I could just basically a 5-minute video. And if anybody's worked in video, it usually can get very expensive. But the way we do these videos using an editor at Elance, it usually works out to be $200 or $300 for the whole project, all in, done, back with music, nice transition, and it's gorgeous. So in this particular case, again, very clear description of what we're looking for. Notes to the editor. I would like the sentences, and essentially the way the videos are constructed, I write a script, I do the narration, and then within the narration, what I will do is I will insert the JPEG address or the JPEG file path for the editor so he knows where I want the transitions inserted into each of the videos, and all the detail on that. And again, we're going to skip over this, but if you'd like that, give that to a note to Arlene and she'll send you that as well. Because if you really want to get some quality videos, my videos that we've been creating convert at around 14% on average, just in opt-ins. So it's a really good style. Again, we just give the video editor all the images and all the details that they need to write the project. So, to me, the most important thing, the most important tip is clearly describing what you want and thinking it through, because that's the hard part. Other than that, it gets to be pretty simple stuff. Where, for example, evaluating the bids. Now the bids have come in, you've posted the project, you're waiting to see who and how many service providers are going to bid on your project for you. And they come, in this particular case, I was looking for 100 2 to 5 minute Camtasia videos. So 100 little 2, 3, 4, 5 minute videos. I had a total, the average bid was $1,423. Proposals from 8 from North America, 4 from India, South Asia, 3 from Western Europe, 1 from Eastern Asia, 1 from Australia / Oceania, 1 from Africa. So the beautiful thing about Elance, it lets us really have a look at who that bidder is and who they are coming in. You can see in that particular case, they're from West Lynn in the USA. Level 5, meaning they're working their way up the system. Earnings, they made $410, so they're relatively new. They've had 4 clients and they're currently at 5 stars. You can message them if you have any questions. And then they write you back a note. And this is what I look at mostly when people are sending me their bids or entering bids in the system. First, thank you for considering me for your project. Even though I've done some writing jobs on Elance, yours is the first video or voice project. So they basically they come in and explain who they are, what they're proposing back to you. We can look at their full profile. In this case, this is Michael Wright. You can see there's his job history. You can see the feedback that he's left others, the feedback that's been left for him. It says, I'm extremely happy with the work for me by Michael Wright, and I'll be looking forward to doing more work together in the future. And then on he goes and says. You can look at sample projects and post, in this case, videos and articles and stuff that he's done in the past, and they've got their resumes in there as well. So you can really dig in and have a look at who they are and find out, make sure that they're the type of person that you're looking for. Use the escrow, another great little tip, number 4, and one I missed, and one most people miss. The feedback system in Elance is basically the bread and butter of the service providers. If they get negative feedback, they have trouble getting work. But the feedback system isn't initiated until you make that first payment. So I always, if it's a $1,000 project or a $200 project, I'll pay them maybe 10% down and I'll release it immediately, which releases the escrow system so that now, and the feedback system, so that if there is a problem, and there's a lot less likely chance of there being a problem if the escrow is in play because the feedback system is alive. So tip number 4 is use the escrow. It's really a good thing. It's basically the 3 parties involved, Elance, you, and the service provider. You can see here, sample little project, $200, project acceptance. First release, $50. So as soon as they accept the project, you release the $50, now everything's in play. In this case, it was a week later, another 50. Actually, no, in this case, it's project acceptance, and then first 3 pages, next 3 pages, project complete. And actually, this is Arlene's project from the epilepsy site. Tip number 5 is set milestones, which you'll find that really help organize yourself in the system and help the project to continue moving down the track properly. You can see again, same slide. Project acceptance, $50. First 3 pages, next 3 pages, project complete. And you pay that weekly, I think, or as those, in this case, as each one of those portions of the project was completed. Tip number 6, don't be scared to negotiate price. Arlene is a big one on that. In her case, the bid came in from a writer that she really liked, didn't want to spend $275, ended up getting, I think probably sending her a private message or phoning her, talking to her, and got the price down to $190. So saving herself, what's that, $85, just by initiating a little conversation. Tip number 7, answer messages within the ELANT system. There's an internal messaging system between us and the providers. Of course, the quicker we answer their questions, the easier the job can flow. Otherwise, sometimes they'll be sitting there stuck. And a rule of thumb that I have, I don't do any work until the people that are working for me have everything they need so that they can be working on their projects. And then when that's done, then I can get to doing what I'm working on. Great little messaging system in the ELANT system. Everything is right in front of you. It doesn't go into your inbox and your email. You can keep everything in one place. Everything's sectioned off by project, so you can go back and look on things in the future. Tip number 8, everybody likes to get paid quickly. So one of the things I like to do is when the project's done and I'm happy with it, then I release the last payment for it. And that's proven to be a good strategy to get them to keep coming back and bidding on your project. Tip number 9 is build your team. And you'll find as you're working in the system, you will start to find people that you really like and you start to connect with. And you all of a sudden you've got your favorite 3 writers and your graphic designer and your person that helps you with technical issues, and you've got your programmer, and you end up having a little team of people that are available to you to work on. So the next time a project comes up, you have people that you can invite that you already know to come in and bid on that particular project. Harlene's case, again, hiring moms to help her in the chat forum, to blog with her, to help out on the site, and just generally create content around the topic. So build your team. And number 10 is build your feedback. Your feedback is every bit as important as it is in the eBay system for anybody that uses eBay, because in the same way we get to evaluate the feedback of the service providers, they evaluate our feedback. So when they're deciding, am I going to take the time to bid on this project, and I see he only actually goes through with 10% of the projects that he posts, maybe I'm not going to bid on it. Or he pays slow. Or he's not clear, he doesn't really know what he wants. So tip number 10 is really build your feedback. And that's something that we've worked hard on over the years, and we've got a great feedback, or have great feedback in the system. And if you can listen to this, you'll hear a trend in here. There's a real trend. There's about 3 or 4 things that they repeat over and over again. Great buyer, gave me everything I needed to do a good job. Next one, it's hard not to give 2 thumbs way up, as Roger Ebert would say, to a buyer whose communication style is top notch. He made it easy for me to make him happy. Excellent project once again, buyer's top notch, communicates well and makes sure that all the info and directions are concise. Thanks a ton. NetShop 01 is a great buyer to work with for those providers who are self-starters and don't require a lot of supervision. The initial project instructions were very clear and thorough, so meeting the buyer's requirements are simple. Good long potential for steady work. James, always a pleasure to work with. As always, it's really much easier when a client knows what he wants and can communicate that. So you can see the trend. Just taking the time to explain to them what they want is a real, hot button to them. Buyer's extremely easy to work with, very clear about what he desired and totally professional. He even greeted me at the start with an audio message and remained easily available for feedback. I'm very pleased and will work with him again and look forward to it. Excellent client, on and on it goes. So basically they're saying he knows what he wants, he pays on time, he communicates well. And that's all you have to do is if you do the same thing, your feedback will come in just like that. So it's pretty simple stuff. It's just a matter of communicating well with the person that you're hiring. So to basically wrap this up, I'd like to share 3 real tips that I've learned over the years that have really made it easy for me to run our business. How many of you have ever found yourself or heard of somebody and they'll say something like this: I've just spent the last day or all afternoon or the last 2 days trying to center a header graphic on a page, and I finally did it. Or they'll say something like, I've been struggling with this WordPress plugin for 4 hours now and it still doesn't work. That type of thing, where it just drains your energy, kills your time, and completely destroys any level of productivity. So the 15-minute rule is essentially, and I live by this. If I'm working on something and I'm stuck and I'm getting pissed off and I can't fix it or I don't know what I'm doing, if after 15 minutes I can't solve it, I simply I take the next 15 minutes and I post a project at Elance. And I can't tell you how many times, which frees me up again. Now I can go back over to do the stuff that I know how to do, that I like to do, and I'm not trying to do something that I'm really not technically inclined to do and I really don't know how to do. So the 15-minute rule, live and die by it. If you find yourself where you're into something and all of a sudden it's just not working and you really don't understand it anyways, go post a project and get somebody to take care of it. I've had so many technical problems solved by a system that I use for that mostly is Rent-A-Coder, where I'd be working on something for 10, 15 minutes, I can't get it, I can't fix it, I'll just go over and post a project, somebody will come in and be like 10 bucks, 15 bucks, I'll explain to him what I need done, and next thing you know it's solved and I didn't have to pull my hair out. Number 2 is post long-term projects. If you can find writers and service providers that you can work with long-term, for example, that little strategy of using YouTube videos to create content. If you can employ that type of strategy, what Arlene will do, or what I'll do for my kit car site, or many of our sites, is we'll go out and we'll research 36 YouTube videos. We'll find 36 that we really like. We'll post a project at Elance for 3 months. We're looking for a writer who will write 3 articles a week for us based on that writer's pick and these YouTube videos, submit them into our system, 3 per week for 12 weeks. And then we work with them to get them up to speed, and then we can just cut them loose, and then the content just flows in and we don't have to manage them. So post long-term projects. For example, this is a site of mine called kitcarconnection.com, where we use the little strategy. I call it the magazine, it's the blog, and where we write articles on cool cars and all kinds of fun stuff. And here's one on a Lamborghini Countach, and a little article with a video down below. So I went and found that video, got a group of 36 of them together, and my writer, 3 per week, posts these articles into the site. Typically you pay about 10 bucks an article on those. There it is, 36 articles. Shelby, Lamborghini, Ferrari. Fun topic to work in for me. I'm looking to have 3 articles written each week for a total of 12 weeks using the information I will supply. Typically this information will include a press release, a web page, or a YouTube video, and so on. Power tip number 3 is work on the business, not in it. That's not my saying, that actually comes from the E-Myth. How many of you have read the E-Myth? This is an amazing book. I've actually bought this book more than 30 times, and I don't even have a copy because I keep giving it away. And one of his premises is work on your business, not in your business. You don't want to be handling the technician part of the job. And if you can really take that to heart, and I'd encourage everybody not to let a day go by to go buy this book. It is one of the best-selling business books of all time. Been around now for probably 20 years, I would think, somewhere in there. And this is the revisited version, where he talks a little bit about a girl named Sarah who has a pie store. And it's a fun read as well, but there's such a wealth of information to teach you how to work on your business and develop procedures and put processes in place so that you're not continually having to work on a business. One of the things that he says is most people don't create businesses, they create jobs for themselves. And he gets into all the details on how not to make sure you do that. So I can see we've got 5 minutes left. I haven't seen the back end of this presentation yet. That's it. So we can open up to a live Q&A for about 5 minutes if we could. And I want to thank everybody for spending some time with me. But if you have any questions at all, I'm very happy to answer them for you. And if you ask a question, I'll repeat it on the mic so that everybody can hear it. Yes.
Of the buyers.
Okay.
And what about timelines? Because from my experience in working with freelancers, usually you will offer a job that you would like them to do, but they want to make it, you start working with a certain freelancer, but in terms of timeline it takes too long, or
yes.
How do you negotiate the price in terms of not finishing on time and stuff like
okay, so the first question?
about the original
Okay, so the first question is how to make sure you get original content. One of the things, and you'll find this in Elance, you're going to find that there's teams in there. I'm going to pass off the articles that I'm going to write to you to one of my team members. I don't deal with team members. I don't need a second middleman. To me, Elance is the middleman. And if I'm dealing with a writer, I want to deal directly with the writer that we're working with. So now that I've got a good communication directly with them, then we can lay out things like quality expectations by giving them the details and really clearly outlining exactly what we want. As far as getting the content created on time, that's where the milestones come in. And again, the writers live and die by the milestones and the escrow and the feedback. So you have to get tough with some of these guys, and you have to, if you're going to use the feedback system, you have to be honest with them and say, you know what, and leave honest feedback. Did a great job on the writing, but was late. And that will, once they start getting that kind of feedback, they will snap the gear. But it's up to us to actually make sure that we're not just saying, oh, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. They're great on all levels because we just want to use them all the time, and we don't want to hurt their feelings. No, they're looking at us, we need to look back at them, and that will help, that kind of stuff.
You ever use Odesk?
I know of Odesk, I've got an account in there, but I've actually never used it.
Does Elance take a percentage of what you pay, or how does that work?
Elance actually doesn't take anything from what we pay. Well, I guess technically they don't, but they take it from the writer or the service provider, which in turn obviously adds it to the cost of their project. So we do end up paying it. The very back there?
Do you ever have a very negative experience with a project that went bad?
Oh, absolutely. What I've learned is when a project starts to go sideways, kill it right now. I don't let them drag me out anymore through the, it's like, it's over. We'll repost it, we'll start again. But if it goes bad, and then if I've paid them, let's say I've paid them something and I'm not happy, I can do some negotiating, see if I can get some money back. But typically, it doesn't happen very often, but it does happen.
So after the initial project, how do you re-engage with them or hire a person
In the Elance system, there's an area where you can, if the project just ended and you're leaving the feedback, they give you the ability to hire them again right there. Or if it's a new project and maybe that project's ended, when you're after you've posted the project and you're in the workroom, there's a little thing that says invite service providers. You simply click on that, add their name and hit enter, and then it'll send an invite to them directly within the system.
What has been your experience working with North American consultants as opposed to overseas?
I find for writers, I pretty much hire only out of the US and Canada because no matter how, we just had a project, we just hired one from India, and I love them to death for programming and stuff, but they just drive me nuts with writing. Because what they do, and this is kind of a blanket, but they have a good person up front who really understands the English language and presents you very well, clean, articulate, spelling's good, but then the writing comes back and somebody else clearly wrote it. And it's not that they're bad writers, they just don't know the nuances of our language. And they try to explain things, I guess, through translation, and it just doesn't sound right, it doesn't come out. So as far as writers go, North America, programming, coding, some graphics design, great, great.
You mentioned hiring writers to build articles around specific YouTube videos. What do you do? How have you found that people pull the videos, that they discover you're building an article around their video, you pull it, and then you've got an article with no video?
It does happen from time to time, but I find most YouTube videos are pretty. Does everybody know you can go to YouTube and grab a little embed code, take that video and put it on your site? Most of the time, once somebody puts up a video, they don't usually take it down. It does happen. I mean, sometimes I'll go click on it and it says, no, this video's been removed by the user, but not as a general rule. And then I guess we'd have to find another one or take that article down. Or
And like the epilepsy site, the 3 letters that contributed, how do you find that is it something they just don't have an interest in pursuing this as a business, they just like contributing to the site?
yeah, that's what I always think. And you're probably wondering, why don't they just do this themselves for themselves? They're writers. That's what they like to do. That's one of the reasons I love working with them, is because they're very entrepreneurial and they're just like us. They just have a different business. So in their case, they may be charging $10 an article or $12 for one of these little YouTube video articles, but they can do 2 in an hour. So they're making 20 to 24 bucks an hour working from home with their kids. They don't have to go out and find a job. They're getting paid way more money. They don't have all the expense of work, and they get to work at home too. So they're as excited about working with us as we are working with them. So, and why they don't go on to become affiliates is they just don't seem to do that, because their love is writing in that case.
Once you build your team, have you ever gone directly to that team member or cut out freelance, or you always go back freelance?
That's actually one of the tips I pulled out of there, just because I had 11, and it wasn't that strong a one, but it was exactly that. Don't ever let them drag you out of the system, because the second they drag you out, you've lost the control, and you've lost the security and the protection of the feedback and the escrow. And once you've lost that, then you're dealing with problems where the project's overdue and you've got nothing other than, ask them, where's my work? So, all right, I can see we're up. So thanks everyone, much appreciated. Good to have everybody for the very first group where everybody's still fresh. So enjoy the conference. Go hit the meat market table. We've got a table out there. It's table number 168 if you'd like to stop by. If you'd like a copy of that writer spec, just give either Arlene or I one of your business cards, and we'll be happy to send that out to you. Thanks so much.